Now that we have Firebase set up, we can start programming. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to the folder core. I'm going to create a new file. On that file, I'm going to call it Firebase Manager, like so. And in this Firebase Manager, I'm going to import Firebase Firestore and import Firebase Storage. I'm going to call it the class Firebase Manager. I'm going to get an initializer with no like so. And I'm going to create a database reference to the Firebase to the Firestore of our Firebase. And just to say it, if you didn't read about it in the time that you're seeing this, or if you don't know it, Firestore is a NoSQL database. Firebase also has a SQL Firebase, but for our purpose, we're going to use the Firestore, the NoSQL. Okay, and now we're going to create a variable called settings, which has a Firebase settings, Firestore settings. I'm sorry, because if we don't do this, it's gonna print out an error that I had experiences with. So, and then I'm gonna set the settings that are timestamps. And snapshot enable equals to true. Return settings, and then we're gonna pass in the settings right here. Firestore settings. All right. Okay, so this Firebase Manager, we're not going to use it until very late. So the first thing I want to address here is we only use Firebase to store a user, right? So when we create someone, we're going to store the user data to Firebase, and then if you want to sign in, you're just gonna check if the user data is correct, right? So right now, what I want to do is I want to create the animation. Let me show you the animation when a user wants to create an account. Right? Let's say I want to create a user called this. Something, and then this animation right here. I want to create that animation right now. All right. So for that purpose, I'm going to go to verification. We're going to call it a new file, and the new file, I'm going to call it sign up view. Okay, going to call it UI kit. Class sign up view. It's going to be of type view, UIView. Has an init. Oops. The standard init initialization with the frame. super.init frame. All right. Okay, so the background color is gonna be the dot accent, right? So before we do anything, I just want to check if the animation does actually work. I'm gonna have to click on that and click on fix to fix that problem. So this sign up view, let me put it in our login view controller, right? Gonna come here, call it private lazy var, and then sign up view, and then call it gonna give it a property of the view of sign up view, and then let view equal sign up view, return view. That's it. All right. And now, how does the animation work? How do we have a view from below push up to whatever height we give it? And the way we do that is we're going to create a variable called sign up view height constraint. You can call it height constraint too. I mean, it's up to you how you call it. It just has to be clear. I'm gonna call it NS layout constraint. I'm gonna force it to be non-nil. And right here, I'm gonna do it right here. I'm gonna call height constraint equals sign up view dot height anchor dot constraint it to a constant of 0, because by default it's 0, right? Because we don't have any view. So what we're doing is we have view of 0 height, and then if we click on a button, we're gonna change the height of that view to whatever height we want. So it's gonna animate itself to that height. Get it? Good. So right here in our verification button tabbed, if is sign up form, we want to animate it. But before we do that, we're gonna have to constrain it to the view. Okay. So let me do it right here. View.add subview. It's the same procedure. I'm gonna constrain it to the bottom, left, right, and the height. View.bottom anchor dot constraint equals to p.bottom anchor. Well, constraint to the save area layout guide, that bottom anchor. And then the leading anchor is going to be constrained to the leading anchor. The same goes for the trailing anchor. And then we just have to pass in the height constraint. Alright. And down below, right here. We're gonna call height constraint dot constant equals to whatever you want. Let's say frame dot height equal times times 0.4. So the view is going to be increasing to the size of our view, to our view height, times 0.4. So maybe about less than half of our screen. And now only have to call View.animate with a delay, with a duration of 25, and call self.view.layout if needed. That's it. Nothing more needed. Nothing more. That's it. I'm gonna call run. And just for info, before we do anything about checking the form or checking if it actually exists and so on, I want to check if if our animation actually works and that we have all the views and so on constrained correctly. So if you click here, sign in, nothing happens, right? But if you click on right here, it's going to be on the sign up form, and now it should come up. And the reason why it is behind all this is because we have to move all this. Let's move it all to the very bottom, so it's actually above, on top of our other views. All right, so let's start it again. As you can see, everything is working. And if you go back to our other view, we can see we've got a profile picture where we can actually pick an image, right? A label, a text field, and a button with a send button. So let's do that.